Come on. There we go. You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com. Broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Tower. Just had a little glitch on the radio station being picked up, so I apologize for that. But we're live on the air, and I have two extremely popular people in the house today to have a conversation about recycling. And I'll start out with Billy Carlson and Franklin. Oh, I'm going to say it wrong. I know I'm going to say it wrong.
Go ahead. Give it a shot. Go ahead, John. Give it a shot. Llama.
I had a 50-50 chance.
You did. You were close.
Yes. So I've got you guys in the house. It's been a while for you, Frank.
It sure has. It's been a couple of years. Yep.
Yeah, and lots of changes in a couple of years, hasn't it?
Yes. A lot of things have changed. The recycling center is doing real well. Now we have a yard waste center opened up a few months ago. Things are working out real well.
Well, we had we promised that we'd let Billy talk for the first 35 minutes. So I think we just sit back, right? Just have him go ahead and have the whole conversation.
Sure, Billy.
He didn't think we were going to do it, but I think he can talk for 35 minutes about Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah. Sure. Well, I know it's a popular game. I myself don't play, but I've got friends that play, and I know it's one of those things. You get somebody started on it, and they go on for hours and days and weeks if you let them.
Well, the beauty about that, right, is that once you're on the air with me, it feels like we're going to go on for hours too, but they fly.
Time goes by fast.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Yep.
But Frank,
yes,
it's been 2 years.
Yep.
Okay, and in 2 years, a lot of people, we looked at COVID as a year of not doing too much. I don't think that's the case in the recycling industry, is it?
It isn't. It's picked up. The recycling is picked up. We're going to do about 400 tons more this year than we did last year. And the recycling, the average market value is in a great shape right now. The city is receiving revenue back from the recycling that we're doing. Things are working out really well, better than expected. Let's put it that way.
Well, and I want to step back for a second because a lot of people don't really understand the numbers side of recycling. Can you kind of give some insight on your expertise in the field on what that means to a taxpayer?
Yeah, let's talk about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Let's say, 3 years ago, it cost us $917,000 to recycle here in the city. Okay. Last year, we made, with the recycling center, it cost us $360,000. And here we are this year. We only have one more left in this year. We're doing real well, and we're going to be under $100,000. That's how much it costs to recycle.
That's huge in the numbers game.
Yep. Huge number. Huge. And the last one good thing is the market value has gotten so much better that the last 4 months we are going to collect a revenue of $60,000.
Wow.
So now it's in our favor for the last 4 months. Yep.
Well, that's amazing. And that really speaks volumes to I think the game plan that it took years ago to envision what's going on now. I know 2 years ago you were talking about things happening.
Yes.
I think they're on a higher scale now than ever before.
Yep.
And would you say that you guys are actually studying now for 2-3 years down the road?
Oh, we are. We got a lot of plans for 2-3 years down the road.
So what was added new during COVID? Can you talk about that? Or I know I'm setting you up here a little bit because I didn't prep you for that question.
No, that's all right. I mean, no, nothing really has been added since COVID at all. Nothing, John. I mean, the only thing that's different is when COVID first came around, I don't know. I think we talked about this. We canceled yard waste pickup because people were afraid of touching things, and we stopped picking things up outside the container. That we definitely did because of the COVID. And the craziest thing is now the vaccine came out and things are looking better. And then all of a sudden now the Delta variant's out there. So we should go back to what we were doing when the first came around with COVID, but we're not doing that. And it's kind of affecting the department a little bit. I mean, myself, I am a solid waste manager. I've been in this business 21 years. I do work in a truck. Matter of fact, I was out there today. I did a route. So as a manager, I even get out there and do a route. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we ourselves have 12 people out with COVID, effects of COVID. So, but we're still out there picking up, doing the best we can. So it's been a tough struggle with the COVID, but we've been getting things picked up, which is very important.
And during this time frame, did you find that I'm gonna praise staff. I get accused of that a lot, but I think we have a lot of really good employees that work for the city of Northport.
Yeah, great.
How did you find people covering shifts and doing different things within the department to really help out while others were down sick?
Well, I tell you, like myself, as being the manager, I'm the manager. I'm the person that delivers totes. I'm the person that picks up bulk, person that picks up recycling. And it goes down the line because I have a superintendent and I have three supervisors, and they are all working themselves. They work too. Matter of fact, my superintendent, he has COVID. He's back tomorrow. So there's a few things, but everybody steps up to the plate. It doesn't matter what you're doing here. If we have to do 2-3 jobs, even though you have one job, that's what you're going to do. Hey, we know there is no tomorrow. That's what we call it. There is no tomorrow on solid waste. You cannot say, hey, let's push this off. There's no pushing it off.
Well, what are I'm going to ask you this because I don't hear a lot of negative feedback anytime I do this show.
Right.
And it's really cool how many people are getting informed on different ways of doing their recycling. We're doing it different than Port Charlotte.
Correct.
We
do different
yep. For a reason. Can you tell people why we have 2 different days or 2 different pictures?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, the commingle week, we'll talk about glass, plastic, cans, aluminum, tin. When it comes to our recycling center, and it comes in bags, which of course we all know plastic bags are not recyclable. A lot of material comes inside a plastic bag, things like that. We can basically take it out of the material out of there, collect that, put it in the garbage, and then make sure the recycling gets brought to the recycling plant. But there's a reason why you don't mix paper and cardboard with glass, aluminum, plastic, because it does not benefit the cardboard and the paper. It pretty much makes the cardboard paper pretty much garbage. Wet paper, wet cardboard, anything like that, with soda on it, anything like that, it's garbage, John. And that's huge.
So let's say that I'm carrying my 12-pack of soda home, and I have a can that leaks inside the cardboard. Does that cardboard go into after it's dried? Is it good or bad?
It's contaminated. You might as well just throw it away.
All right. So there's a lot of kind of prep work that you guys have to do before the recycling gets picked up. Is that true?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. And we talked about this probably 2 years ago with you on contaminated items being a real problem because the rate of return you get is a lot less, correct?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Let's see, last month our contamination rate, even though we clean out at the recycling center, like the plastic bags, we still had over 3 tons of contaminants. So think about it. We did 600 tons and we only had 3 tons of contaminants out of 600 tons.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. We were charged. So that is amazing. It's pretty incredible numbers. And the greatest thing is that we have 1 person working at that recycling center and a supervisor that watches over it. So I give kudos to those guys.
What is it they do? Because what I'm hearing essentially is we're paying for that center and we're probably going to pay for the staff that's in it.
Yeah, and the recycling center, remember, well, John, remember the recycling center costs about 300 and the total was 325, and that was including the recycling center and the equipment. 325. We made 575 the first year. This year we're averaging about 300 this year. So it made its money already. So that's all paid off for already. Well beyond that.
Well, and you know, business owners out there, they talk about rate of return. That's a pretty good rate of return.
It is.
When you're really not gearing recycling as a business money maker for the city.
Our biggest challenge here, John, is that the garbage end is getting heavier and the recycling is not getting as heavy as it should be. So this year I'm going to do probably 3,000 tons more of collecting garbage compared to only 400 tons of recycling. So now, since we're getting paid for the recycling, we need to take that 3,000 number and reduce that and add more to the tonnage to the recycling so we can get paid more.
All right. So I'm going to stop you right there because there's an importance to what you just said. And yes, on the number side, there's real importance there because of what you can support with data. But what does that mean for landfill?
Matter of fact, the landfill, what happens is they're already, one cell takes about 12 years, 13 years. Because of everybody moving down in the collection period, the cells now are getting shorter period of time. So then they have to build new cells. I mean, it takes up more landfill space, plain and simple. But the bad news is that not this year, next year, our tipping fee will start to go up there. So we're paying $48.34 a ton right now for the landfill, where the recycling, we are getting paid for it. So it's a big difference there.
So, and I'm going to ask this question because we have the system set up for success.
We do.
In comparison to other cities who are behind the eight ball, I know we're being contacted because I've talked to you guys about this before.
Right. Yep.
They're really going to be playing catch up really quick because if that number, the tipping number goes higher for them also, they don't have anything to counteract that, do they?
Right, correct. And that's a perfect example because that's what we did this year. This year, the recycling is paying some of that tipping fee for the landfill. So it did help us out. It's funny because I see some of the Facebook posts saying, well, I want a rebate. Where's my check? I want money. And what happens is that money goes towards the landfill. So I wish I can give out rebate checks, right, Billy?
Absolutely. And that's kind of where I come in to try to help emphasize,
right.
An outreach to the community is trying to emphasize, like, look, listen, our recycling the last couple of months has actually been net positive. We can improve that by increasing the amount of recycling we have as opposed to decreasing the garbage side. And anything we can do to help improve that, whether it's just maybe changing one person's mind on, because we have people that say, well, I don't see the point in recycling. I'm just going to throw it all away. Right. And every person whose mind that thinks like that we can change is another step in the right direction to swing that just a tiny bit, the financials back towards the recycling. If we're making money, why would we not do that?
Right. Great. Agree.
So as we go through this process and things are going to improve and get better with what we're doing in recycling, we're gonna combat some higher rates down the road with what the innovation what innovation you guys are coming up with now, correct?
Correct.
So with that, what is the next piece that you guys are targeting?
Oh, that's a good question. We did that already. That happened last month. What was it, Billy? When did we open up the yard waste center? Was that
middle of July, I think?
Middle of July?
Yes.
So what we did was we started targeting the yard waste because another recycling item. The yard waste, we were paying $36.14 a ton. We were traveling to the landfill. Our commissioners here are great. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They see a good thing, and they gave me the permission to go ahead and build a yard waste center here in town. It's on the east end. So we have 6 of our yard waste trucks that were filling up and going to the landfill, which is 49 miles round trip. Now we don't do that no more. We have them dump in on the east end of town. They load up, 6 trucks load up into one big trailer, and one big trailer goes back and forth. And John, I know you last time we talked when we did the recycling center, we used to contract out our transport, and we were getting charged $357.08 every time the truck left the yard. The commissioners did help us out, did purchase 3 trailers, and we do have a transport chassis. And now we can cut that number in half. So if we were spending 20 to 30,000 on transport, we're going to spend maybe 10,000. So more savings all over the board. That's all we keep thinking about, is trying to save money.
Well, and I'm going to ask this because other cities have not jumped on board with this yet. They are looking at it. There are some cities that are doing more than we are. One, you guys always get asked, are people looking at us? My question is, are we looking at someone else to see what they're doing? Are we talking with other people who may be just a little bit ahead of our curve to see what they're doing more innovative?
That's a good question. We meet, all the solid waste managers meet every quarter. We sit down and discuss things on, what kind of direction we're going, any kind of ideas. But John, it's sad to say, it's vision, and it's right here in Northport. We're the leaders. We are the leaders. We have the vision. You have to have vision. You can't just sit behind a desk and put your feet up and saying things are great here, because they're not. Things aren't great. Costs are going up. We have to make sure that we have vision and we keep looking at things well ahead. And like you talked about, 2-3 years down the road, we have to look at that. That's what we're looking at.
Well, and that matters. Everything that I see the smile on your face. For the people on the radio, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can check us out on Real Talk 97.5 or WKDWRadio.com on Facebook. And you can watch these videos back. You can share this information because there's some value to be shared about what's going on here with taxpayers of not just our community, but surrounding communities, because I think taxpayers, one, have to understand exactly what's going on, and 2, the taxpayers of other communities maybe want to put some pressure on their side of government to say, wait a minute, why are we not doing that and cutting some expenditures so that our tax rate doesn't have to go up? I think that's an angle that we really haven't tapped on too much, is that these expenditures, if you weren't doing recycling, would cause a real budget problem, wouldn't they?
Right, it would. If you look at other people, it's City of Northport. We are going up $5 next year. We're at $245 this year. Next year we're going up $250 and $250. So things like that do happen. We do whatever we can to try to save money and cut here and cut there. We are going up $5. But if you look around, like City of Venice and City of Sarasota and City of Punta Gorda, many cities, we are one of the lowest cities around. And we are matching up versus the big boys like all the counties. Charlotte County's even more than us. Sarasota County. They're starting to creep up. So our number at 250 is still one of the better numbers out there.
Well, and I bring that up because it's always a hot topic when it comes to tax time or tax rate increase, and everybody gets battled at that point in time.
Right.
What are we cutting from the city to save our tax dollars?
Right.
I want to approach it a little different, because I think this is one of the unique situations where if we, as a city, tax-paying city, looked at it and said, well, what are we going to cut from our service? If we even thought about cutting anything in the recycling side of things, it would almost be an increase on taxes.
Right.
Because you're covering the nut by cleaning trash, so to speak.
Yep.
And what is the value in that for the city workers as far as their job security? I see a higher level of commitment because of, I think, the innovative thought processes that are going on. And I think you get more people involved with that within City Hall.
Right.
When you start using that information to save tax dollars.
Yep.
And I see the staff. I mean, my trash guy is happy to drive by. I see him picking stuff up. I see him, doing certain things.
Yeah.
What are we doing on the commercial side of this process?
Yeah, the commercial side is not picking up as much as and we talked about this, I believe, in the past, is that the residential is just booming, and the commercial is slowly but surely getting there. I think next year will be a better year for commercial. Since I've been aboard, it's the last few years at least, we've only gained maybe it's funny because COVID. You gain 30, but then you lose 20, and then you gain 30 and you lose 10. COVID's kind of got people coming and going. So some businesses open and they close, So that number's, when you build a house, it's always going to be there, John. The house just stays there. Renters.
Not changing.
Yeah, listen. I mean, our biggest thing is we have to build a commercial up. We're talking right now. I believe we had 400 commercials. Accounts, and they might have different things like cardboard or garbage, but you look at City of Venice, they probably have 3,000. Unincorporated Sarasota County, 5,000. That's the number we need. We can't have 400. We need 2,000. 2,000. Definitely that brings in more revenue to the city, and then that lowers the rate.
Well, and I'm going to go over to Billy for a second, because the side of things for you has to be totally different now than when you first got hired on.
Right.
Because you have now been, how many months now have you been in?
I've been here just about a little over 5 months now.
All right. So 5 months in, and we've done our show, we've had our conversations, but in five months, it's really allowed you to really get a hold of a lot of information that you didn't have before.
Right.
What are some of the things that you see when you show up and you go to the meetings and you talk to these guys differently today than you did day one?
Well, I'll tell you the biggest difference, at least in public works, solid waste, is when I started, before I try to make a concerted effort to recycle the right way, make sure this is that way, educate the kids on, bags don't go in the recycling, this goes in the brown tote, this goes in the blue tote. But I'll say at this point now, with the way the last couple of months have gone, like when we get that first week of the new month, every month, like I'm excited, anxious for when Frank sends out the recycling numbers, because we've seen this tick where it was a certain number negative, and then it comes down a little bit more, and then it comes down a little bit more, and then we had a month where it was just slightly positive, and then another month where it was much more positive, and then another month where it's much more positive. And so for me, that's things like I'm excited to put that out to the people. And
Billy, doesn't make you feel
it makes you
good. It makes you feel good, right? Doing the right
thing. It does.
Seeing a difference, right?
Frank will send the email with the numbers, and I'm, running down the hall and go, Frank, is that a misprint? Did I miss a number? What's happened? Did we really? Was it really that good? Yeah. And I mean, it is. So to see that, even in my personal life, that makes me even more concerted to make sure that the right things are going in the right bins, and we're disposing of things the right way. And, like I said earlier, that every mind that we can change on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, if it's even one person, that's one person we're saving money on. And if they maybe change a friend's mind, if they're visiting with a friend, go, oh, you could do this, and the city's actually making money that way, then perfect. Those are the kind of things that they could have a trickle effect.
And I'm going to say this because I'm going to tip the hand of age, I guess. Back in the day, you used to get a nickel every time you picked up a Coke bottle and took it back in.
Some places still do that. To
me, it's kind of amazing. We're talking about something we used to do as a kid because we wanted another soda. We just picked up as many Coke bottles as you could, and you got to, you carry 5 or 6 in, you get a free Coke. So that was kind of cool. My question is to the taxpayers: wouldn't you recycle the right way so that your tax rate doesn't go up, so you could actually pay yourself anyway? Yeah. I just think we pay this thing forward the right way, and we share this educational information the right way. Yeah. I think we could get our city kind of excited about what's happening, and maybe take that excitement from the division and spread it out like a big mass email again via the show. I mean, because there aren't too many cities that actually interview, or too many radio shows that interview Public Works, let alone talk about recycling on the air.
Sure.
And the value that it brings to a city and a tax base. And if anybody's out there listening right now on Facebook or even on the radio, you can call in at 941-716-6550, and feel free to give a kudo. They say thank you, ask a question that I haven't asked, but these guys are working really hard. Staff works really hard. You talk about coverage. It's very important to have the right people in the right place doing the right job a lot of times. You've been at this for how long, Frank?
21 years.
21 years is a long time. So, Mr. English, thanks, Mr. English. It says Frankie is an example of a true leader by example. I can't even begin to imagine where we would be without what you've done. I've listened to you talk. The passion that you have for what you're doing has to be inspiring within the walls of your facility.
I would hope so.
Well, it's evident by Billy, because the amount of energy level that goes up with him when he tells the stories now 5 months in to a job where, I got to tell you, when you got hired on, Billy, I was looking for a reason to be excited. Not for you to be here, but for you in general. What was going to be your reaction to the position? Because you're the spokesman. You're out there. You're trying to educate people,
right?
And to hear you tell it 5 months in, with the passion and the smile that you had on your face about just getting a simple email, and it's funny. It's not simple when you think about it. 5 years ago, where were we at in recycling?
Right.
5 years ago. That wasn't that long ago. Okay.
No, right.
So 5 years ago, where were we at in recycling, and what did we do 5 years ago to kind of tweak this thing and make it part of an exciting movement on really for the taxpayers? And I'm only going 5 years back because you got 20, but I'm going to go back 5 years because I know what we were talking about 2 years ago, and I know what you've accomplished in those 2 years. And there's leaps and bounds over what was to what happened 2 years ago.
Well, remember, 5 years ago, we kind of knew where this was going with the recycling, because if you remember, John, everything was going to China. China was accepting everything, and the recycling was not clean at all. It was all garbage and dirty, and they were taking everything, and everybody thought things were great. But China already in 2012 and then 2016, they came out with all different things, green fence, and they were saying, hey, listen, we're not going to accept this material. It's too dirty. And they kept sending it, and then China closed the doors, and guess what happened? We ended up paying $917,000. So we all knew this was happening many years ago. We all knew it. So if you didn't react to that and kept going on this pace, I don't know where you're at right now. That's good. Say is good luck.
It's kind of amazing to listen to you tell it because, or maybe not just tell it, but remind us all what was happening 5 years ago.
Right.
So everybody says, let's not look back. Let's look forward. Sometimes you got to look back to say, this is where we were.
Yep.
And cities right now, they're looking back and going, this is where we were, but we're in the same spot. And now our tax rate is going up.
Yeah.
And our tip fees are going up. And things are moving the wrong direction.
Wrong direction. Many counties and cities are moving in the wrong direction. We here, we have vision. We're going in the right direction.
Well, it's funny to hear it all, and to watch your expression on your face, because I ask certain questions and I can see the smile that comes on your face. The wheels are turning. You're like, I got this answer. I'm gonna kill it.
Gonna kill it.
What are some of the things that you think we should be focusing on today for tomorrow?
Well, first of all, I like to say, with staff and our commissioners, a lot of this would not even be where we're at today without them. They have to be on board. That's the first. That starts off right off the bat. We have great staff here. We got great commissioners. They're on board. They're all on board, and that's huge. Because if you don't have that right off the bat, John, you're going to be stuck back 5 years ago. And thank God our commissioners have vision. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, hopefully in a few more months, I will be going to commission about doing a transfer station for solid waste. That'll be our next big goal in 2-3 years. Hopefully have something here in town. I mean, a lot of times right now, if the people want to get rid of anything, they have to travel to the landfill like we do 20 times a day. They don't want to travel there either. So having something in town is the goal. How big or how small it is, that would be up to commissioners. And, that's something that we're looking at down the road.
And that's still another cost savings at that point, right?
Well, that's going to be huge.
Down, right?
That's going to be huge. It's going to be huge savings. So I already proved that, and we already proved it. Staff here, the commissioners, we already did with the recycling center. The yard waste center, think about this. We had 6 trucks going back and forth to the landfill in Nokomis, paying $36.14 a ton. Now we go to Charlotte County, one big trailer, $14 a ton. And I keep all the trucks, 6 trucks, staying in town collecting. You can't beat that. That savings all over.
Well, and you're not just talking manpower, but you're talking equipment care on top of that, because you're not tearing up equipment going up and down the road.
Right.
And
keeps vehicles around longer. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, and you've got listen, there's all kinds of things that are happening within the city, and I love the fact that we're talking about cost savings when it comes to recycling. But I think people need to understand other things within the city are attached to that. Are other things attached to that $5 increase, or is that just directed at recycling?
Just directed at it's directed throughout solid waste, John. Directed throughout. Yep. So most of that goes to the tipping fee. I mean, the tipping fee is going up. The tipping fee is so important with the landfill. As more homes come in, you're still going to collect whatever's there. It's still going to the landfill. And, there's so much stuff out there. I wish I had more time to even collect it. I mean, I just keep picking up. I wish we could do better, but, I mean, we're still working on that. But it's tough to keep up. But that's our main goal. And making sure the streets are clean comes with a cost. And that cost is at the landfill. Now, the landfill's at $48.34 a ton this year. next year as well. But after that, John, they're still going to go up. So I think we're going to pay like 53, Billy, if I'm not correct. I thought it was $53 in 2 years and then 56 in 3 years. So we'll be paying $56 a ton. Okay. Think about that. Whatever we just saved on the recycling and the yard waste is going to go towards that. So, it's just everything increases,
Isn't it a moving budget that you guys have every year?
A moving budget?
A moving budget. And I say that by the fact that you don't know what you're going to do in numbers with recycling. You can project them, but
right.
you can blown out of the water with
right.
this year.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, exactly.
So,
perfect.
And I say moving budget because
gotcha.
This could be reversed and we'd be talking totally different.
Yes.
That
right.
rate could be $10 increase.
Right.
Not 5.
Right.
Because
correct.
recycling wasn't paying as well.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep.
So you talked a little bit about what the market value is bringing right now.
Mm-hmm.
The market value for us is much greater than any other city based on what you've done with cleaning things up, correct?
Yep, correct. Yes, it is.
And as long as we continue that mindset and that forward thinking, the vision that you guys have in play right now is really trying to tamper down any costs down the road, correct?
Correct. Yep, correct.
With the new recycling center that you're talking about, the solid waste.
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
With that piece, because I actually see a different level of excitement when it comes to that from you, because I think you have people on board already at the commission level because you produce numbers.
True.
And I don't want to step on anything. I'm going to be cautious. Right. Okay. Yep. But I see a level of confidence in what you're doing right now because of the outcomes that you've had in the past.
They've been successful, right?
Yeah. And anytime that you keep nailing these things down and you're ahead of the curve and you can actually show the numbers the right way, I'm a sales guy. It's an easier sale.
It's an easy sale, but the thing is, though, of course, it's up to our commissioners. The big thing is property, Tom. The big thing is property. Property is the biggest thing. Where do you put it? So the property, if you don't have property, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're still trapped.
The biggest thing that I see, though, is that the excitement for the cost savings. Now I'm gonna slide that over for a second because we talk a little bit about the commission side of things. I want to talk about Jerome here for a second, and talk about him coming in as the new city commissioner or city manager. I'm sorry.
City manager. Yep.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about that and ask you where you find yourself in the conversations with him.
I feel he's going to be just as excited as we are. I think he has vision himself, and he's a visionaire. So I think we're all going to be on the same page.
And I'm going to ask this because it's been 2 years since we've talked, and we're doing a video live on Facebook, so I get to see each other, which is kind of cool. But the nice thing is that do you see the same passion in him when you have a conversation with him?
Well,
same.
And John, I've never met him. I've never met him. Okay. But I have listened to him. I did look him up on YouTube and see what he's done and some of his conversations. So I know he will be on the same page as us.
Okay. Well, and I'm glad you said that out loud because he's really not here yet.
He's not here. Yep.
Yeah. So I was thinking ahead of schedule. But it's going to be nice to follow back up with you in 2 years when you come. Now, I'm just teasing. About maybe 6 months when you come back on. I had to pick on you just a little bit.
2 years. 2 years, crazy.
But,
so, any questions out there? No questions? I can't believe it, John.
I don't think they do. But explain 2 things in And Billy or you can take this question.
We'll let Billy talk. He's been talking too much.
Billy can take this question. The two things that we have to deal with once a week is a red and a tan, right? Or a red and a brown.
Blue and tan.
Blue and tan, yep.
I'm Ohio State. We play on Thursday. So
Got it.
I had red on my mind. So we've got blue and brown that we have to pay attention to once a week.
Correct.
One, how do they find out what day they have? And
okay.
Two, what goes in those totes? And what's the proper thing to do?
Okay. So the first thing we'll do is we'll shill out for our Recycle Coach app. You can download that on your mobile phone. If you're not the smartphone type, if you prefer being on the computer, we do have it on the solid waste website where you can go in. There's a little widget. You put in your address, you hit view my schedule, and it not only tells you what day your collection day is, but it also breaks down which tote you should have out. So for this week, it would tell you should have out your blue tote and what day you should have it. And it also is, so for instance, next week we have Labor Day on Monday. All of our collection is going to be pushed back a day. That's accounted for in the Recycle Coach app and their web widget. And you can sign up for notifications. So you can be notified as far as 48 hours ahead. You can be notified that morning if you're the type to put it out in the morning. You can get it, again, if you're not the mobile phone type, you can get email notifications through the website sign up. The blue tote is your commingle. That's your plastic, glass, aluminum cans, things like that. No plastic bags, no shrink wrap, anything like that. Plastic wrap, plastic sheeting, tarps, things like that should all go in the trash.
Hey, Billy,
yes.
Tell them about the picture I sent you today.
Oh man, we had a resident. And this again, Frank, hardworking as he is out on the truck today, and sent me a picture of a resident who, in his blue tote, had two very large plastic lawn chairs.
Oh, man.
Poolside lounge lawn chairs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Boy.
Not really ideal.
Not ideal. That's more of a reuse item.
Right. So
I've got to ask this question because a lot of people are probably sitting back going, I see the Recycle logo on all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Just because it has a Recycle logo on it, does it mean that it can go in a brown or
right.
blue tote?
Right.
I would say the biggest offender there is everyone sees the little recycle number on styrofoam, and we do not accept styrofoam. Our recycling partner doesn't take styrofoam. Some areas do recycle it, but we don't. But it's got the recycling symbol. It's got the number there, and people think, well, this is recyclable. Yeah, we'll toss it there. And along those lines, things like pizza boxes, where people just assume, well, I'm done with it, I could toss it in recycling, but comes complete with grease and cheese bits or anything like that. And that's we had a video a few weeks ago go out. We recommend just tossing that stuff straight in the trash can.
Yep.
So it really matters really to the recycling center what totes, correct?
Oh yeah, correct.
And if they don't do their job and we have a higher contaminant rate,
yep,
we get less money.
Right. Yeah, less money.
That's the value of the system. If we all learn to use the system, we can all increase with spreading the word about recycling the right way.
Right.
And if we can increase our poundage, right?
Our tonnage, yep.
Our tonnage, all right? Yep. I guess I was using the wrong weight identifier, but the tonnage. I'm not used to tons. I'm used to pounds. How many pounds?
Well,
But
the funniest thing is whenever I go to schools and talk about, I don't really talk about tons either. I talk about pounds. So 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. So I tell people, look at this room. Put 2,000 bananas in here, 2,000 pounds of bananas. That equals a ton. So I understand how the ton thing is.
Well, I got to tell you, I think that if every home focused on just adding 10 or 15 items a month, every home added 10 or 15 items a month, what would that do to the tonnage?
It would increase our tonnage and we bring in more revenue and lower what's going to the landfill. And Billy can go ahead and talk about this too, but if you want more recycling totes, they're available. Comes the garbage, that's a different story. If you want to go ahead and have more garbage, then you would need to purchase a can and purchase a sticker each year. You have to pay for that garbage. The recycling we're getting paid for, and it's great for the environment. So that's the way to go.
Well, and think of it this way, as the consumers should think of it: blue and brown pay for itself.
Right.
You pay for trash, and as the price of delivering and accepting trash goes up in other counties, because we're not delivering the trash to Northport, are we?
No, we are not delivering the trash to Northport.
The trash is going to Venice, correct?
It's going to Nokomis.
Nokomis, Sarasota County, unincorporated?
Yep, unincorporated.
Yep, we're right there, Jacaranda, boom.
Yeah.
Unincorporated Sarasota County. So we're actually paying them from our tax revenue.
Yep.
And you're finding ways to collect it back through recycle. And if everybody got on board with doing recycle, even though we're going to 53 in a couple years.
Then 56, yep.
And then 56.
Yep.
If we can less the trash tonnage and increase what we're doing on the recycle side.
Correct.
That changes the roadmap to success for our town.
Sure does.
That's the importance of maybe paying attention, maybe sharing this information, maybe getting your neighborhood. Go out and meet your neighbors. Holy cow. What a better way to meet your neighbor than to say, hey, I watched a really cool video, or I listened to these guys on the radio. I think we should start a neighborhood push for increased recycling. Why not?
I love it.
There's a lot of people that really want good things for our town, and they really care. I'm wondering how many of those groups focus in on the recycling side of things and really push that information as hard as they do some of the other information. Mm-hmm. Not that their other information is not valuable, but I see like the different groups that are out there, and I'm even in one in Lakeside Plantation, and I don't know that we push this information too much.
Okay.
I don't remember the last time we did. So maybe that's an angle for you guys, maybe to attack, and maybe Billy, you've got some information on that I don't, but you guys excite me about this stuff because the end result is my tax dollar.
John, you know what's kind of hurting us though is the COVID. Billy and I would be out there talking to kids, talking to adults, going to big shows. We'd be talking, but with the COVID, coming back around, it's pretty disappointing. But I guess in time it'll finally be over, and then we can get back out to what we do best: teaching, being the resident.
So I'm going to throw you an idea. I seriously, I'm going to throw you an idea, because there's enough of these groups out there on Facebook and YouTube that I think a 3 to 5 minute short clip about numbers, about what you guys are doing, to send out to some of these leaders of the groups might be a way to get this thing traction on social media, and keep it short and sweet, because yes, you're going up by $5.
Yeah,
that could have been 15 if we're not doing what we're doing.
Yep.
And that, I think that captures people's attention when you start talking about the excitement of recapturing what could be spent money. You're recapturing spent money. We have to get rid of trash anyway. So you're recapturing what if we didn't have brown or blue totes, guess what? How much would we be paying?
Oh, good God. You want to know.
No, I do want to know, because that's the difference between a successful solid waste plan and one that doesn't have vision. And I think that's the point. We could be here, but we're here because of what we're doing, and we've saved you this for the outcome.
So let's say a couple of years ago, if the commissioners didn't say, hey, let's go ahead and do this recycling center, there was even talk back then. There's many cities out there that started throwing away their recycling into the garbage. And they haven't even come back to recycling yet. They're talking about it, but just think if we did that, you're talking a couple of more $1 million that we'd be paying to the landfill.
And that $5 fee.
That $5 fee.
And
you're talking,
but what the increase that we're talking?
Yep.
The $5.
Yep.
What would that have been?
Well, let's put it this way: $15, around $15. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then it's everything else. I mean, you're talking. So it would have been 15 this year. Who knows what it would be in 2 more years from now? It would have went back up again. Things are, like we talked about, everything's increasing. The truck costs are increasing, tote costs are increasing, everything's increasing. So that's why we come up with these things to make sure that we can go ahead and, keep the rate as low as possible.
Absolutely. Well, as always, Billy and Frank, you guys are superstars to listen to. I'm really appreciative of solid waste and what you guys do. Public Works really rocks it out as a team, as a unit. But you guys, I hope you don't wait 2 years to come back on, because honestly, people need to hear your numbers. They need to hear from you and hear about what you're talking about. And I think you got a great voice for it. So
thank you, John.
Your 21 years is appreciated, and your outlook and your vision is more so appreciated than ever. Every time I talk to you, I get more excited. So
I love the people. I love the city.
Yeah.
Hey, can I throw a shout out?
You do it.
Listen, I just want to say just to the good people in Northport, thank you for everything. Listen, Labor Day is next Monday, so that the solid waste division is off. We will be pushed back 1 day next week, working Saturday. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. You guys keep up the good work, and I look forward to having you back on. Billy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Frank, good job, man.
Good
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
This is John Rawlings with WKDW saying thank you and have a great day. We'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.